Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has sentenced the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, NNAMDI, KANU, to life imprisonment in absentia for acts of terrorism. Justice Omotosho pronounced the judgment on Thursday at the Federal High Court Abuja. KANU was charged with 7 counts bordering on terrorism.
I hereby sentence the convicts to life imprisonment for the said counts 1, 4, 5, and 6 instead of death sentence.
NNAMDI KANU was convicted of all 7 counts preferred against him, even though the IPOB leader pleaded not guilty to the charges. In delivering his judgment against the IPOB leader, Justice Omotosho said that counts 1, 2, 4, and 6 of the 7 charges against KANU carried the death penalty, while counts 3 and 5 carried 20 years and 5 years imprisonment, respectively. However, quoting from the Holy Bible, Justice Omotosho, who alluded to the merciful nature of God and the fact that the foreign communities frowned upon death penalties, opted to show mercy and therefore sentenced NNAMDI KANU to life imprisonment on counts 1, 2, 4, and 6, and 20 years and 5 years imprisonment without any option of fine on counts 3 and 5.
Particularly, must notice the word in Matthew 23 and verse 23, the word mercy. Our Lord himself is merciful. No matter what we do, is a merciful God. It is on that note that the court will follow this above admonition of Jesus Christ in the above passage and show mercy to the convicts. In addition, the death penalty globally is now being frowned upon by the international community. Consequently, and in the interest of justice, I hereby sentence the convicts to life imprisonment.
Justice Omotosho also ruled that Mazi KANU would not have access to any digital devices except with supervision from the Office of National Security Advisor. He is to be kept in the protective custody of any facility across Nigeria suitable for him, as the Kuje Correctional Center would not be suitable for him.
The convicts made use of computer devices like phones in making broadcasts in sites and call for all these atrocities. It is based on that without hesitation, I agree with the counsel to the prosecution that the convicts must not be allowed near any digital device, and if it must be closely monitored by the Office of the National Security Advisor. So I have no hesitation in coming to the conclusion that convicts has the tendency of violence. The tendency of violence has not left him. It is based on this that he must be kept in facility that is suitable for his custody, as putting him in Kuje Correctional Center may not be appropriate.
According to Justice Omotosho, KANU has a period of 90 days to appeal his life imprisonment sentence, and if he fails to do so, the Federal High Court will give consequential orders. Reacting to the judgment, human rights lawyer and activist Barrister Kingdom Okere said NNAMDI KANU has done nothing wrong other than fighting the marginalization of Igbos in the country. He added that some governors paid ransom to known bandits and also incorporated them into the security agencies.
How many of the terrorists have been convicted from the northern Nigeria? So all the terrorists in this country, have they been convicted and sentenced to death? So all these things we know that this is how it's going to end. And Omotosho, unfortunately, allowed himself, to be used, to do this kind of injustice, that impinge on the sensibility of a section of the country. We are saying that justice should be for everybody. Did anybody catch NNAMDI KANU with with firearms. He said he made broadcasts. And was he proven beyond reasonable doubt? From my understanding of what NNAMDI KANU did, he is fighting for justice. What about those that have actually carried arms against the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What has happened to them? The bandit that former Governor Aminu Masari visited in Sambisa Forest, that was later recruited into Nigerian custom and was given 2-star. Is he not serving in Nigerian custom today?
The post-conviction and sentencing of NNAMDI KANU is fraught with uncertainties. At least 4 scenarios are almost likely to play out. The first is the outright rejection of his conviction and sentence by the indigenous people of Biafra that he leads. Whether this would lead to protests, the kind that trailed the incarceration of the Shiite leader in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, is left to be seen. Secondly, NNAMDI KANU is expected to enter an appeal to reverse the decision. The third possibility is a rash of diplomatic interventions, perhaps from Britain, whose citizenship he holds. Another possibility is that, in line with previous calls for his release, more of such appeals are expected to follow almost immediately. It would be recalled that 48 hours to the judgment, 44 members of Nigeria's House of Representatives drawn from across the country's various geopolitical zones had written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release NNAMDI KANU. The legislators who wrote under the umbrella of the Parliamentary Action Group for the Defense of Justice and Democracy asked the president to invoke his constitutional powers to release Mazi KANU and convene an inclusive political roundtable to find a lasting resolution. The Parliamentary Action Group had anchored their demand on 3 reasons. First, the federal government's negotiation with agitating groups. Second, the insecurity in the southeast. And thirdly, domestic and international ruling in favor of NNAMDI KANU. Among the 44 signatories to the appeal was Honorable Obinna Agocha, representing NNAMDI KANU's Umuahia North, Umuahia South and Ikuano Federal Constituency of Abia State. In recent months, Honorable Agocha had been very vocal, drawing attention to NNAMDI KANU's failing health to avert his death in detention.
I wish to draw the attention of Mr. Speaker and the House that on the 26th of August 2025, I wrote a letter to Mr. Speaker, the House of Representatives, as well as a letter to the Attorney General of the Federation and a letter to Mr. President, urging for the urgent intervention request in the deteriorating health conditions of my constituent, Mazi NNAMDI KANU. Up until today, Mr. Speaker, I have yet to receive any response from Mr. Speaker, from Mr. President, and from the Attorney General.
The request by members of the Green Chambers of the National Assembly came on the heels of a November 10 resolution of the Abia State House of Assembly appealing to President Tinubu to facilitate the release of NNAMDI KANU. Before now, the Southeast Caucus in the Senate, led by Senator Ike Ekweremadu and later Senator Eyinaya Abaribe, the Southeast governors, prominent Nigerians such as late President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Dr. Emmanuel Iwayanwu, doyen of estate surveying in Nigeria and one-time chairman of the Police Service Commission, Chief Simon Okeke, leading human rights activist and Senator Shehu Sani, amongst others, had appealed to President Tinubu to release the jailed Biafran agitator.
The matter concerning Mazi NNAMDI KANU and the continued legal wranglings concerning his incarceration. The Southeast Senate Caucus, all leaders of the Southeast feel that the release of Mazi NNAMDI KANU will help in dousing all the tensions and everything that is going on in the Southeast.
NNAMDI KANU remain in prison. The more the cause he is fighting for is being flourished by his own detention. Tinubu is a president that came from the trenches. He is one of those who fought for democracy and freedom. And I believe, if not for the fact that he went to exile, he could have ended up in prison with us in the 90s. then someone of his own stature cannot be lectured about democracy or human rights, because we are all in the trenches fighting. So my expectation is that the problem cannot be solved by keeping the leader of the struggle perpetually in prison. You don't solve the problem. You can only solve the problem if you discuss the problem.
During one heart-rending occasion, renowned nationalist and minister in the First Republic, the late Chief Mbazulike Amechi had led a delegation of some prominent Igbo sons to appeal to then-President Muhammadu Buhari to release NNAMDI KANU. It was a sober spectacle as Mbazulike in a wheelchair pleaded with Buhari to grant the singular request as he would like to see it done before he, Amechi, died. Buhari refused. Mbazulike Amechi was accompanied on that visit by the late former governor of Anambra State, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezife, former president of Aka Ikenga, Chief Godi Uwazurike, Bishop Sunday Onoha of the Methodist Church, and Tagbo Mbazulike Amechi. Ironically, the same fate was to befall Chief Iwanyanwu, who as President General of Ahaneze Ndibo was left to have defiled medical advice as he sought avenues to gain NNAMDI KANU's release. Incidentally, Chief Iwanyanwu capitulated to the exhaustion that followed that visit and died shortly thereafter. How today's judgment will impact the socio-political life of the country is left to be seen, particularly the Southeast, where the incarceration of the IPOB leader had often paralyzed socio-economic activities. More than that, observers will be keen to see what President Tinubu makes of this volatile political situation, especially given that various levels of government have been negotiating and at times allegedly initiating agreements with terrorist groups. In addition to disrupting socio-economic activities, have also killed hundreds of Nigerians, with the three northern geopolitical zones being worst hit. Should President Tinubu grant Mazi Nnamdi Kanu clemency? Let us know your view. Ebere Anebo in Abuja, reporting for True Vision Online Television, the platform that democratizes the media space.